Gian. Everyone, let me double check my volume everywhere. Yes, I believe we are already connected to Binance Live and also to our Twitter video streaming, as well as our YouTube channel. Thank you so everyone for tuning to this Real Moonlight Show session. And we're very glad to interview the one, the only, Chris Farrell. My goodness, I was telling Chris that if we say your name in the US, right, people will say, "Oh, isn't that the superstar from HBO movie series, right?" And Chris, well, himself, see as handsome as a movie star, and the voice, wow, you could definitely do, voiceover for movies, right? And you are working in blockchain industry. That is just amazing. So, Chris, could you please introduce yourself to our live audience over here on Binance Live, because we're also curious about who you are until from the movies.
Firstly, can I just say, Moonlight, what a lovely introduction. Thank you so much. And it's a thrill to be here. I've watched your stuff before. It's actually the first time ever I've done this. So it's like, you know, I'm almost a little bit nervous about it. So I appreciate the lovely words and the kind introduction. And hello to everybody. If you're watching live or if you're watching the recording, it's a pleasure to be here. As Moonlight very kindly said, long story short, my name is Chris Farrell. I'm from London. I lived in America for years. I've been in the blockchain space since 2017. Like most here, I'm just excited by the innovation and the problems that this space solves. And I'm here to essentially spend a short bit of time together sharing with you a project that I'm a co-founder of, which is called Locked Money, that again is aiming to solve a lot of challenges and hurdles and obstacles that exist in this space. And Moonlight, I appreciate the invitation very much being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow. So you are definitely an OG, right? Since 2017, right? Wow.
Yes.
And yeah, we certainly wanted to learn from Chris today, especially the project Locked Money, because, well, while we are making money during this very happy bull run, right, we also wanted to make sure our assets are really safe. So, Chris, we also know like you have a presentation for our audience. Would you like to start from it, and then everyone feel free to ask questions when you are watching Chris' presentations, and later we're going to collecting the questions and then ask Chris along the way. Thank you.
Fabulous. Can you see my screen,
yes,
Moonlight?
Super clear.
Wonderful. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just jump in. And if you want to interrupt me at any time, this is going to be about 15 minutes or so, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very conscious. I say this often, that we're all busy. So wherever you are, if you're on your iPad or your phone or watching at home or at work, I appreciate you very much. And my main goal of our time together here is I just want you to come away from this thinking, do you know what? That was just a good use of my time. So with that said, let's jump in. And as I briefly teed up a second ago, Locked Money solves many challenges that exist in this space. Depending on how long you've been in this space, you may or may not know this firsthand yourself. There's many challenges. And for real adoption, as Moonlight's just said, you know, we're in the bull run now. I think we've got at least another year of this bull run. We've got regulation being passed. We've got adoption. We've got all big companies embracing this space. But for real growth, it has to become easier for really the average person. I suspect most of Moonlight, I bet most of your friends, if you talk about blockchain, they look at you as if you've grown a second head. They're like, I don't even know how to start in this space. I don't know anything about it. And so we're really trying to solve a lot of problems. And so Locked Money solves a lot of problems that exist in this space. And so the goal of this short presentation essentially is to really share with you the benefits that Locked Money brings to the market. I will also mention that we are currently in an additional funding round. If you find yourself thinking, I kind of see the value that these guys are bringing, and you'd like to know a little bit more about how to get involved in the additional funding round, I'll share with you a little bit more about that at the end of this short presentation. First thing to know, most importantly, is we're not live at the moment. Locked Money is going live in Q4. We're going live. The goal is end of December, so we're 3 months or so. So we're not live yet. We're heavily into development and growth. There's about 35 of us now behind the scenes working on this. So this is a big project. We've been working on this for at least a year. It's very exciting. So what is Locked Money? Let's start from the very, very beginning. Let's answer the obvious question. Essentially, Locked Money is a self-custodial platform. If you're not sure exactly what that means, we'll come to that in a second. But the goal is where users, you, me, everybody can securely store, manage, protect their digital assets, safe in the knowledge that you're not going to get rug pulled or hacked or scammed, which are, that side of this industry is growing more and more and more. What's also unique about Locked Money is we are adding legal protection as well as, if you like, technical protection. So you almost get a double whammy of protection, and I mean from a technical standpoint, also from a legal standpoint. We'll cover this a little bit more as we continue, but essentially my one sentence overview, and hopefully this will help if you're watching right now, is that we are self-custodial, which means you always have control of your assets. We'll talk about that more in a second, where you can always manage, protect, store your digital assets easily in one space. Our goal really, Moonlight, is to simplify getting involved in this space. It's a very clean and easy to use interface. It's very easy to navigate. It's not overwhelming or confusing like a lot of assets that are out there. Kind of an easy comparison, if you like, is I often compare this to friends of mine that are not in this space but are interested. I say, think of Coinbase or think of Binance. Most of us, of course, know what that is. They, of course, allow us to buy and store and manage and swap, and they're interoperable. You can do exactly the same with Locked Money. However, the big difference, in fact, there's two big differences with Locked Money, is that, again, we are self-custodial. You have full control of your assets. Whether you know it or not, you don't have that at Coinbase. You don't have that at Binance. Now, I'm not dissing them at all. Clearly, they're ridiculously successful. But technically, just as many of us experienced a few years ago with FTX, you know, if you don't control your assets, if the exchange goes down, you've lost your assets, which happens. That's not the case with Locked Money, because you always have absolute control. Plus, as we've mentioned, there's this legal framework as well. So this legal protection and self-custodial you don't get with centralized exchanges, but you do with Locked Money. So let's jump in and look at this a little bit more in detail. Our number one emphasis, as you can tell from the name, you know, the clue is in the title, Locked Money.
Right.
It is on protection. Our emphasis is on protecting your digital assets, particularly as Moonlight has said, you know, we're just really beginning to see the start of the bull run. You could argue that we're halfway through this bull run, but we have an opportunity to make wealth generation enhancing wealth right now. So you need to be smart. You need to do a little bit of due diligence and protect this, because do this right, the next few years can set us all up and our future generations, you know, for the rest of our lives, as traumatic as it is. But we need to protect our assets. And so that's where Locked Money fits in. So what I thought might be helpful, and then we'll come to some questions, is I'm going to briefly look at 5, if this is cool with you, Moonlight, 5 main benefits of Locked Money. Essentially, Locked Money is a suite of products, and I want to quickly put 5 of them under the microscope right now. So let's just jump in. The first one is asset protection. It's our number one focus, protecting your assets. As the name suggests, any assets stored in Locked Money are always safe. They're always protected. So a typical user, therefore, would use Locked Money to store their crypto, but also have the peace of mind of having this additional security. Now, of course, some people will use, I don't know, MetaMask, let's say, or Rabby, you know, a hot wallet as it's known, to store their crypto assets. Which is not smart long term, but many people do that. Some people only store in cold wallets. Nothing wrong with that. But with Locked Money, your assets will be more protected for many reasons. Firstly, there's more confirmations needed for any transaction. So a crypto investor who wanted to securely store their crypto assets while maintaining full control over them could use Locked Money. And the process is very simple. You simply log in, you create a vault, as we're calling them, or vaults. You can have as many different vaults as you like. Store your digital assets in that vault. That vault, firstly, is self-custodial, as we mentioned a few times. It's also multi-signature. So what that means, in case you're unaware, is you can't accidentally send funds somewhere and lose them, like many people have, because you have to have multiple confirmations for any transaction. So just those 2 alone added security. And this is why a lot of people that have fallen victim to fraud, or they've lost their assets on centralized exchanges due to fraud or bank runs or liquidations or corruption, such as FTX or Gemini or 3 Arrows Capital or, you know, BlockFi, none of that would have happened if those assets had been within Locked Money, because you simply can't send your funds. Or you also, one other thing worth mentioning is that you might find this interesting to know, the number one reason that people get hacked is they most of the time accidentally reveal their seed phrases, whether they intentionally doing it or whether somebody's kind of convinced them through Telegram, you need to do this and we'll help you out, and that's a scammer. That can't happen with Locked Money because there are no seed phrases. So we're reinventing the security aspect as well. So we are already eliminating the number one way that people get hacked. Again, hence the name Locked Money. So that's the first thing I wanted to quickly share with you, Moonlight, asset protection. I've got 5 to quickly share with you here. The second thing to go through is legal frameworks. I briefly mentioned this a moment ago. I know I often joke about it. I know it can sound sometimes a little bit dull when you talk about a legal framework, but remember, this is your wealth we're talking about. So we need to spend a few moments just kind of thinking, okay, I just need to learn about this. So what does this mean? Locked Money offers you access to a comprehensive legal framework. Now, whether you know this or not, throughout history, there have been legal frameworks where the wealthy have kept and grown their wealth because of access to these legal frameworks. There are things such as foundations that many may have heard of. There are things such as series LLCs. Don't worry at all if you've never heard of any of them. Just know that these tools, if you like, or frameworks really have existed for hundreds of years. But normally, they're only open to the high net worth individual or the elite. Normally, they cost hundreds of thousands just to have access to a foundation. And foundations can shield your money from prying eyes or legal liabilities or a divorce, or maybe you just don't want somebody to know about your cryptocurrency. You get absolute privacy. So what's important to understand is these things have already existed, but they have not existed on the blockchain until now. So we're bringing these legal frameworks that our CLO, our chief legal officer, he's been doing this for 15 years with offline companies, protecting them legally. Now we're just bringing that same service on the blockchain. So when you come on board as a user for Locked Money, we have a free plan, we have pay plans as well. Another thing you'll get access to is legal frameworks. So with Locked Money, you get legal protection as well as the technical protection we talked about a few moments ago. A few other quick things to share with you here. I'm sure there's some questions, and I appreciate I'm going at 1,000 miles an hour. Am I talking too quickly, Moonlight, or is this okay?
Oh yeah, it's totally fine. I'm actually also taking notes and going through different platforms to see to collect the questions from our audience as well.
Cool.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Not at all, Moonlight. I'll just keep going then. So let's talk about as I said a moment ago, I want to share with you 3 of the benefits. As I've mentioned, we're kind of like a suite of products. Again, just like Coinbase, just like Binance, there's many things you can do, all of those, from staking to yield farming to buying to swapping to holding to selling. Obviously, it's the same here in Locked Money. So I don't want to bamboozle you with getting too specific on too many, but let's look at a few more. Firstly, self-custody. Now, we've talked about this a little bit already, but this is so important, particularly as time goes on. With Locked Money, you always have complete sovereignty, if you like, over your digital assets. In other words, you can access them at any time. Now, we mentioned a moment ago, the number one way that most people get hacked is through accidentally revealing their seed phrases. There are no seed phrases with Locked Money, so already we're getting away with that. But with self-custody, you have complete control over your assets. You don't have that at Binance. You don't have that at Coinbase. Now, again, I'm not picking on Binance or Coinbase. I love them. But, who would have thought a few years ago with FTX, my assets are safe. And of course, that went down, and we all know why. And anybody, including myself, that assets there, has lost them. We may get them back in time, but that's not the point. The point is we did not have self-custody. And with Locked Money, you always have access to your funds. So you can sleep well at night, essentially knowing that your assets, if you like, are fortified like never before. Your assets are always protected. They're always accessible.
Right.
Another benefit, and 2 more to share with you here, is, again, this is a big challenge for many. I remember struggling when I started hugely in 2017 with this exact thing. Just getting into this space and out of this space. Centralized banks don't make it easy. Why do they not make it easy? Well, we all know, don't we? It's because essentially decentralized finance is competition for centralized finance. In their 800 years of history, banks have never had competition before, and they're worried. And if you look at, particularly in America, there's a revolving door, if you like, between Washington and Wall Street. The lobbyists are kind of wanting the SEC to kind of make it difficult for this space to grow. We all know Gary Gensler is continually kind of trying to throttle this space and make it difficult. We all know that eventually this is going to thrive, but at the moment, traditional finance, and depending on your jurisdiction, I'm in the UK and I've got many friends of mine that banks have just said, no, you can't get involved. How dare a bank tell you how you can or can't spend your money? But it's happening. And so that's something that we are solving as well. We make it easy to on and off ramp with traditional finance. You can move your funds easily into and out of this space. So it solves one of the biggest challenges in this space. So with Locked Money, this will no longer be a hurdle for anybody's ability to essentially have banking access. Talking of banking access as well, we're absolutely thrilled. Now, I should just say, full disclosure, this will not be rolled out globally by the time we go live. We're pretty confident we will have this for European users, but all users of Locked Money, depending on the level that you come in at, will have access to a debit card for convenient spending. Now, debit cards, obviously, that's not particularly new, but to have it linked directly to your assets that you have in Locked Money, just again makes life a little bit easier. So you can link your vault that you can create in Locked Money. You can have as many different vaults as you like. You can link that to your debit card and essentially merge the digital and the physical spending worlds, if you like. So it's one platform, infinite possibilities. Our goal is, we just Moonlight want to make things easy, because there's such a learning curve anyway for the individual. I often think of kind of my mum. I don't know if you're the same, Moonlight, with your mum or your dad. You know, if we had to explain this space to them, most of them would be like, you know, they'd be absolutely bamboozled. There's a great saying in marketing that says, a confused mind never buys. And it's so true. If anybody's confused straight away, you've lost them. And again, to go back to my earlier point, if we really want, and a rising tide raises all ships, if we really want this space to really grow, adoption has to become easier. We're all, you know, we're kind of, if you like, in the know, in inverted commas, to varying degrees. We're probably all quite comfortable. Maybe not everyone here, but, you know, maybe downloading a MetaMask wallet, let's say, and adding networks, you might be comfortable with that, and that's fine. You might not even know what I'm talking about. But my point is, for mass adoption, even that has to become 1,000 times easier. And so that's one of the things that we are aiming to achieve with Locked Money. So essentially, to kind of start to, oops, got a little video running here. Hang on.
Okay, no worries.
Sorry. Maybe stop that video and let's jump as we go. So essentially, to kind of to start to sum up the benefits of Locked Money. Really, as I mentioned, we have a comprehensive suite of products that we are offering to our users. We have access to this comprehensive legal framework that will help you increase your wealth retention. It can help with your tax efficiency as well. There's a lot to this. I'm not going to break it down too much right now in this call, but this is absolutely unique. No other blockchain protocol or platform offers access to a legal framework that can help you with privacy, help you with tax efficiency, help increase your wealth retention. But you get that as a user of Locked Money. We talked already about asset protection. This is really our number one thing, as the name suggests, as I've said, shielding your crypto assets from legal threats, from technical threats. We just want you to be locked, to be protected. You have advanced security. Each user can create their own vault to securely store assets with a multi-signature capability. There's tax efficiency. We haven't probably really talked about this that much, but just know that as part of being part of our legal framework, one of the benefits is tax efficiency. And this essentially means, as things become over the next few years kind of clearer in jurisdictions as to how much we all owe in tax, it's still a bit of a grey area in most territories. The tax reporting is simplified. All the documents that you need, you can download from our platform. And this will potentially allow you to retain more of your wealth as well. We've been doing this, by the way, in the offline world, as I've mentioned, for 15 years with, I say we, it's really our legal officer has been doing exactly this. We're now just bringing the same service on the blockchain. And other benefits, as we've just briefly mentioned, seamlessly on-ramping and off-ramping with TradFi. Debit cards, users will receive debit cards for convenient spending. We've also got, I haven't even mentioned this, we've got a passive income opportunity. There's going to be 2 staking pools that will be available as soon as we go live in Q4. So there's lots of benefits for anyone that wants to come across and come on board. This video keeps playing, Moonlight. I can't seem to stop it. Let me just stop this for a second. Hang on.
Thank you so much, Chris, for wow, this is a marvelous presentation. Yeah, talking about Locked Money and how to protect users' assets safe, right? And so, of course, here comes a lot of questions from our audience. And the first one is, of course, how much does it cost for different
of course,
type of services? Thank you.
Firstly, thank you for that great question. We have a free plan. We have a professional plan and we have a high tier plan. The free plan is obviously free. Do you know what? Truthfully, I can't even remember the exact figures at the moment. I think there's two. I think there's three pay plans. One is $10 a month. One is $100 a month, and then there's a personal plan. The real kind of high end is really aimed at DAOs and institutions, but it's not crazy expensive at all, because our goal is to build users so everybody sees the benefit and we can all kind of benefit together. But I think the free plan will allow you to create your vault, to buy crypto, to transfer crypto in, to have this vault, for it to be interoperable, for you to swap and do, if you like, in inverted commas, more basic functions, although it's still quite advanced for many. So that will be free. And then the next tier up will include, I think the paid plan includes this debit card. I think it's $10 a month, might be a little bit more. We're still kind of working on the pricing plan. So not 100% clear right yet. We still don't go live for about 90 days or so, but that's the rough sort of ballpark that it will be in.
I see. And how about the fees for debit card? Because we know other crypto debit card, when people wanted to use the card, right, they also need to pay a certain percentage of the fees.
Yes. So that is our CEO, who sadly has not been able to join us for this call today. He's got a personal thing that's suddenly cropped up. Our CEO, wonderful gentleman called Jed, has been in the traditional banking finance world for years, and in decentralized finance as well. And he's much more of an expert on these specifics when it comes to things such as that. I'm not 100% sure on how that's actually going to work at the moment. As I say, because we don't have the luxury right now of being live, things like this specific fees of the credit cards at the moment, I'm not 100% sure on how much that will be, but that will of course be something that will be absolutely clearly ironed out over the next 3 months before we go live.
Got it. Thank you so much for letting us know about that. And also the next question over here, our audience, they are also curious about that. Earlier you mentioned Lock Money could also prevent rug pulls, right? How? For example, like there are so many Web3 projects ongoing right now. Let's take an example. Back in I think that was back in April or May, there is a very famous Ethereum staking project that they literally rug pull about 10,000 pieces of Ethereums from people who stake their assets on their platform. Will these also, if some of the stakers, they use Lock Money, will these help them to get their money back, or things like that? This type of rug pull.
Yeah, the way that, I mean, if somebody's going to, there's kind of two questions here. If somebody's going to invest in something, so forget Lock Money for a second. If you're going to invest in something that you and I have no control over, and something goes wrong with that, then that money, unfortunately, is in this other asset. The way that we can protect that is the number one reason that most people get hacked is, as I mentioned, accidentally revealing seed phrases. So firstly, that is not something that even exists with Lock Money. But secondly, we have assets. We have an asset manager, or at least you have the option to have an asset manager with Lock Money. And what that means is, anytime that you send a transaction somewhere, this will need at least 2 approvals, and you can assign who that is going to be approving that second confirmation. So this straight away will reduce hugely accidentally sending something to somewhere, not being too sure where that is going, because we have this second approval method. So there's that, as well as the removal completely of seed phrases in the first place. But you are correct. Anybody, if you invested in something, outside of Lock Money, as indeed in any asset in life, if that was a nefarious character, then we do have legal infrastructure to help try and claw that back, if that is something that we end up doing on your behalf. But all that will become crystal clear when we go live, which is still not for about 3 months or so.
I see. Okay. So, well, maybe the next question, maybe we also need to wait for another 3 months until the service is fully go live, because the next question from our audience is, for legal service, is it on top of their membership fees, or is it inclusive?
So it is included if you come on board on a paid plan. So there's going to be a couple of paid plans, as I mentioned, and I don't think we've even decided the actual names of the tiered plans at the moment. But that paid plan, and it's not stupidly expensive at all. This isn't. We really want to help clean up this space. We're looking at this as a long-term, at least 5-year project before we can kind of begin to take on the Binances of the world. And so, to answer your question, anybody that comes in at a particular paid plan level gets access to this legal protection. Now, that legal protection, that alone. And let me back up a little bit. Before we go on live, I'm creating what's known as an academy. And this academy is going to break down simply and step by step all the myriads of 1,000 excellent questions that are being asked, because there's obviously going to be thousands of questions. For example, when it comes to legal protection, there's different legal entities depending on where you are right now in the world, your jurisdiction. There's these things called foundations that I've mentioned. There's a thing called a series LLC. And so these are, legal. They're known as what they're known as. They have utility. They're physical premises. We've got an office and we've got staff. So they're legal entities that, depending on where you are in the world, you will have access to, as to which one would be most beneficial to you, depending on your government. And then these legal entities, you will essentially be able to, if you like, be a part of. Now, I should just quickly mention, you could go and do this yourself if you went to a lawyer and asked about setting up a foundation, let's say. That's doable, but that's going to cost, and I'm not exaggerating, at the minimum $20,000. Often it's about $100,000. That's why I said earlier, these are really only things that high net worth individuals are firstly even aware of. Most people don't even know that these exist, and certainly they're not on the blockchain. This is probably one of the things we're most excited about, bringing what has always been available for the elites, assets, and not assets, services that allow them to protect and grow their existing wealth. Now we're bringing them on the blockchain. So to answer the lady or gentleman that asked this question, if you come on board our paid plan or one of our paid plans, you will have access to this legal protection. Yes.
Interesting. And I like what you say, right? Originally, this was a service only for the elites, but now it's kind of like for everyone in the blockchain.
Well, Moonlight, that's why I think we're all similar. That's why this industry excites me so much, because for the first time in our life, we really can compete. The tools really do now exist. It's always been, let's look at, let's look at traditional finance. We all probably know that money in our bank accounts is essentially really useless money. Just the purchasing power goes down every year. What's inflation rate? Sure, inflation's coming down. It's about 2%. But, if we're earning, 0.5% a year on your money in a bank, that's almost insulting. Whereas the bank, of course, are lending out our money, making a lot more, and they're tossing us these scraps. Most people, because financial literacy was not taught in schools, at least it certainly wasn't when I was a kid, most people aren't even aware of that. And more of us are beginning to wake up and have these, if you like, conscious conversations where we're just beginning to question, hang on, how is it the rich get even richer? Particularly during COVID, that was a famous, and the you and the I's of the world are like, kind of continually, if you like, in inverted commas, struggling. That's why this has been literally, it's no coincidence that this space came out of the financial mess that was created in 2008. That financial breakdown, which was ethically wrong and spiritually wrong on so many levels. So many individuals, so many older gentlemen and women, lost their homes, their savings, their 401ks, their lives, have had to go back to work. And what happened? Nobody got prosecuted. Who got bailed out? The freaking banks that caused this got bailed out. It's just wrong. And so it's no coincidence that out of that mess, of course, by centralized finance, decentralized finance is here. And this is where we are now. We're we're 16 years in. We're still so new. We're still on the starting blocks. And so we're beginning to wake up to the fact that, as to answer your question, Moonlight, that these tools that have existed for 400 years, Google a foundation or go to ChatGPT and ask, what is a foundation? It's nothing new. It's been around for years. What has not happened until now is bringing these on the blockchain for you, for me, for everybody to benefit from. That's why centralized banks are beginning to get worried. That's why they're beginning to go under, because more and more people are beginning to realize actually we can begin to kind of take back control. So I hope that helps a little bit.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Chris. And that was definitely a marvelous presentation. Also answers to our audience questions, and of course, yeah, our audience are also curious about, is Luck Money going to be an add-on, or is it going to be a standalone app for our cell phones?
I'm so sorry. What do you mean by an add-on?
Like add-on to Google Chrome,
Oh, I see.
add-on app.
That's a very good question. I mean, it's a totally standalone platform, of course. You can go right now to locked.money, and you can that's our website, and you can see there. We're all docs, by the way. I should just quickly mention. And even that, interestingly enough, I think is quite unusual, particularly in this space. You know, again, there's no judgment here, but there's a lot of projects out there where you don't know who the founders are. They're not docs. They hide behind the anonymity of a username or an image. And again, there's no judgment from me. That's fine. But really, if you're going to invest and trust in something, you want to know kind of who's behind it. I always ask two questions before I even think about doing anything. It's one, what is this thing that I'm thinking about either using or maybe investing in? What are the problems that it solves? What is the utility, the use that it brings to the market? I need to be clear on that. And secondly, who's behind it? You know, who are the team? We're all very transparent. You can obviously see my face, my LinkedIn, and I've been in this space since 2017 in blockchain. I've been in the online world since 2008.
Right.
And so to answer your question, we are, as opposed to it kind of being an add-on, I'm sure eventually we will have an app. As I keep saying, I know we're not live yet, but it will be like a Coinbase. It will be like a Binance. It will be like, one of those where obviously you'll be able to access it on your mobile as well. But you'll be able to go direct to the site, create your account, log in, access your vault. And by the way, Moonlight, let me quickly mention, you may like to know, just while it pops into my mind, that on Thursday this week, we're hosting another of these calls for our community, which is growing very rapidly. And we're going to invite anybody that wants to come on board for free to use Lock Money, just to sort of try it out. Now, all the functionality is not live yet. We do have the vaults, we do swaps, we do have the all that sort of, if you're in inverted commas, basic stuff. There's lots more coming. But if you're watching this right now and you're thinking, do you know what, I'd quite like, there's something here I'm intrigued about. I sort of see what this English guy Chris is talking about. I kind of understand it. Love to invite you to join us for this call, where you'll be able to get free access so you can try it out for yourself. The best way to do that, if I can mention, Moonlight, is just go to our website and join our Telegram group. If you go to locked.money, you'll see a link to the Telegram group. Just join our Telegram group and we'll post the link to it in there, if that's okay.
On Thursday, right? Yes, sure.
We're going to do it on Thursday, yeah. And it's very relaxed. It's a lot of fun. The CEO, who, as I mentioned, sadly can't join us today, will be joining us as well, and we'll be sharing, more questions that I'm sure we've got about this whole thing, because it's very, as I'm sure you understand. Oh, I know you do perfectly. You're such a master at communicating, Moonlight. It's very challenging in just we've been going for like almost 40 minutes to kind of convey in a short amount of time the many benefits without overwhelming, because it is, because I could talk about one of these things just for a few, for days. So anyhow, I hope that helps.
Certainly. Thank you so much, Chris. And of course, here comes more questions, and I'm not sure how much time that you have that, but how about let's take this one, because as we all know that Web3 is kind of like a black forest for all the users, right? Although there are so many opportunities, but there are also a lot of danger. For example, let's talk about Twitter or X, right? A lot of times when we are browsing X, and then we see a lot of different links, and some of them are actually phishing links, which is certainly unsafe, right? Once we click on that and connect our wallets, and pew, within seconds, our assets are all gone. God. So, and then of course there are also several other projects that they already push out their add-on apps, right, to protecting the user. And compare Lock Money with other similar project. What makes you stand out that the user wanted to switch from an existing app and then to use Lock Money? Thank you.
I think there's two things that make us stand out. Firstly, there's no other protocol out there that has this legal protection as well. Now, this is one of those things that when you hear it, you potentially might not even take on board how big a deal that is, but to have this legal protection, particularly as the industry continually evolves, which of course it's going to, So this legal protection can help with your privacy, can help with tax efficiency as well. So that's a huge deal. So that's one reason I would say to anybody that's interested in exploring more, please do explore more about Lot Money. Join our Telegram group and we can dig down even more. A second thing that I've always been really big on Moonlight, and I think this goes back to when I was a kid at school. I was always, and still am, when I learn something, I am definitely not the person that can hear something once and gets it. And it's quite overwhelming and almost intimidating in this space to feel as if everybody else gets something apart from you, and therefore I must be stupid because everybody else gets it. Particularly in social media, people go, oh yeah. And it's like, no, actually, no, most people don't get this. Most people are new to this. And I've got this big thing about the only silly question is the question that you don't ask. And so that brings me on to my second point, which is we are really big on simplifying, keeping things easy to understand, educating you, because obviously making money is great, but it's so much more enjoyable if you actually understand what you're doing and you're not sort of, hoping that it's going to work. We want to remove hope. Hope as a business strategy is terrible. As a human characteristic, it's obviously good. You don't want to hope you're going to make money by getting involved in something. You want to know, and the only way you can know is by being educated. And the only way you can be educated, in my opinion, is if it's broken down and explained simply and step by step. And that kind of loops me back to my earlier point, which is I teach in a very simple and step-by-step manner because that's how I need to learn. And so therefore, my point being, I am really big on educating everybody that comes on board Lot Money. I mentioned earlier there's going to be this thing called the Academy that will break down exactly what this is. How do these legal frameworks work? This foundation thing that I mentioned something called Sirius LLC. I don't expect anybody right now on this call to expect it. Our CLO, our Chief Legal Officer, often jokes with me. I have calls with him every week to learn this as much as I can. I'm not from a lawyer background at all. And he said to me just the other day, he goes, Chris, I'm trying to teach you what's taken me 20 years to learn. So my point is there is a lot for us all to learn here. But if it's broken down, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, baby steps, 1% a day, you're going to come away, understanding what you're doing a lot more. And that's just going to give you confidence. And then when you start to see your assets growing and you know that they're protected within Lot Money, maybe you're using our staking, so you're earning passive income as well. You have this inner sort of swagger of I kind of understand it. So that is, to answer your question, which was, how does this set us apart? I truly do feel, I never thought in a million years, Moonlight, I'd be creating my own cryptocurrency platform at all. But it's kind of born out of an absolute frustration of so many jokers out there, so many nefarious characters, so many people that assume something, so many people that they might know something, but it's one thing to know something, another thing to be able to explain that thing in an easy to understand and hopefully interesting manner. Einstein once said, he said, only when you know something well enough can you explain it simply. And I think that's absolutely true. So to answer your question, our two unique points are this legal protection and technical protection you have through multi-sig and self-custody. And secondly, this, if you like, education on this space, because we are on the starting blocks. We're still in the infancy. We haven't even started really where this space is going to go. So getting yourself educated in this space right now is one of the best things that you can ever do for not only your mental health, but for your financial health as well.
Yes, you are sitting right, Chris, just like you say, right? Knowing something, is one thing, but being able to teach everyone what you know about is certainly at a different level. So
Moonlight, it drives me crazy how people will, and it happens every day. You'll ask a question on a Telegram group or in a Discord, and somebody will say something, I don't know, read it in the docs or something that's just not helpful to anybody. And you've got that pack mentality where the person that asks the question then feels embarrassed, really, to say, I don't understand this. So all that happens is they go, oh, right, thanks. But then you've lost that person. And we don't want to lose anybody because we are, as I keep saying, there's an opportunity for us all here to do very well financially. And it's not just about the money, although, of course, obviously that's nice, because what can we do if we grow real wealth? How much impact can we give back in the world? I'm sure many here want to be financially free, but I'm sure that's not the end goal. I'm sure there's a step above that. It's like, wow, when I've got, 4 million in crypto or 1 million or 500,000 or whatever your goal is, then I can start to, that's going to take some pressure off things. It's going to help your mental health. Then I can start to do that. Well, you can get there very, very quickly in this crypto space. As you said, Moonlight, you know, we're in the bull run. And really, let's be honest about it, we're still crabbing sideways price-wise, aren't we? I mean, you know, even today, Bitcoin, you know, another hammering, and we were up, you know, but as soon as, I personally think as soon as the election's out of the way, I think the handbrake is off the Lamborghini, and then we're going to have, you know, at least a year of absolute fireworks.
Yeah, oh my, the election. Yeah, it's definitely going to have some impact to
Yeah,
the
I
crypto
think so.
space. So anxious about it, but also quite
Yes, so
exciting.
am I.
Yes. Yeah.
So am I.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about the election is, obviously we're not going to get political, but regardless of where you sit on the political spectrum, both of the main parties are pro blockchain. At least they're saying they are.
Yes. At
yes,
least
I would
they
say the
claim.
Republicans more so.
Yes.
Exactly, they claim to be. And I think that's because I read a thing the other day, Moonlight, you probably know this. It said that 49% of millennials in America, 49% own crypto. 49, which makes me think, are those 49% honestly going to vote for an administration that is saying, hey, we're going to throttle your cryptocurrency. We're going to make it difficult for you. We're going to introduce CBDCs instead. Of course, both administrations know that. I think they should be embracing this space more as a policy come November the 5th, because I think I honestly think, you know, the economy and immigration, of course, are important, but I think blockchain and cryptocurrency is just as an important issue for many people, although it's not really spoken about that much at the moment.
Exactly. Yeah. And I also have been definitely paying attention to what the candidates are saying, right? And of course, going to follow up on what they really do. And I already complete my voter registration, going to fly back to New York and cast my vote on November 4th. So definitely while that's very anxious and also very exciting, because this is going to be a very important year for the crypto history, right? Because of the election and everything that's happening now. And once again, thank you so much, Chris, for the marvelous presentation. And before we wrap up the session, do you have any additional information that you wanted to share with our audience?
Well, I just want to say, as I said at the beginning, I'm very, very conscious that everybody is busy, and wherever you are in the world right now, you know, you've got a bazillion things to do. You got the kids, you got to walk the dog, you got those emails to check, you got to go and do the food shop. I get that. I totally understand that. So at the very least, I hope this has just been a good use of your time. And if you'd like to explore and get involved any more, I mentioned briefly, we are actually, this isn't the reason for this AMA, but we are, I mean, if you're interested, we are having an additional funding round right now. We've already raised 1.2 million, and we're raising a tiny bit more. If this is something that you're interested in, you think, I see an opportunity to get involved at basically the lowest price before the token goes live, which is in Q4, feel free to join our Telegram group. We'll share everything with you there. And the best way to locate that is just go to our website, locked.money, easy to remember, locked.money, find the link for Telegram, click on that, you know how it works, join Telegram, and we hang out in there all the time. I'm in there, you can ask me any question. And Moonlight, it's been, after watching you, I've watched many of your AMAs, it's really lovely to meet you. I hope we get to meet in person sometime.
Yes, we should. Maybe next international conference somewhere in Europe or in the US.
Are you going to Bitcoin in Amsterdam the week after next?
Oh, I'm actually still going to stay in Taipei for a while. So unfortunately not. But yeah, let's keep in touch online. And I'm going to follow you on X as well, so we could continue our conversation. Thank you so much.
Fabulous. I appreciate you, Moonlight, and thanks everyone for your time.
Thank you. I'm going to actually, before we wrap it up, I actually wanted to share, we are featured on the front page of Binance right now. So I wanted to share my screen with Chris and with our audience. And of course, I will screenshot these and send it to you through X. And once again, thank you for the amazing AMA session about Locked Money.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks,
Have a
Moonlight.
great rest of the day. Thank you. Marvelous. Thank you so much. I'm going to close our backstage over here, and the replay will be available pretty soon, everyone. As always, we have our live streaming session on our Binance, on YouTube, on our Twitch and Twitter. And of course, we'll have our replays pretty soon in a minute. And also, we are continuing to drop our crypto boxes to the audience who are watching us online. No matter which part of the world you are at, we appreciate you for spending time with us today and to learn about how to protect our assets, right? With block money. This is certainly super, super important. And friends, if you miss any part of our live streaming, no worries. We have our replay and it's going to be ready for you in a few minutes. Let's listen to our ending music for now. Thank you so much. And listen, Meng Lai from the Real Meng Lai Show. Looking forward to seeing you again next time. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you.